Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So money guides, money builds, they are back. Now the main focus of this series, I want to try and really get them out on like Friday, Saturday and Sundays. They're the most popular times for these videos. However, I'm going to try and focus a few of these builds on the most recent update cars. So that'll be the Pontiac, the McLaren and the Porsche Cayman. I may try and do a tune for the Christian Dior, but I'm kind of unsure on that one. So I've had this tune ready for a while. However, due to other kind of commitments, it's been a bit difficult to get this video made, but it is here now. Finally, yesterday I got around to editing and all that good stuff. So it's going to be using the Pontiac GTO Judge from 1969. It costs 201,000 credits from the legendary dealership, so go and pick yours up. A very kind of cheap starting price. And the good thing about this build, well, after you've run it once, everything else is absolute profit in terms of this car. So this is the livery for today's video. It's kind of a NASCAR Trans Am kind of vibe, and the reason I'm going to give you the livery is mainly because it will put visual mods on that sometimes does kind of affect like the performance rating of a car. It's by Inkspot70, so search him up, go and check him out and grab this livery for the Pontiac. Also feel free to check out all his other liveries and you know, kind of builds he's got up there. So awesome work by him. So in terms of visual mods, this is running the American Racing Vintage Torx thruster wheels. Personally, I think they look absolutely great on the car. So in terms of, you know, what wheels we're running, that is what we're running. So I suggest, you know, if you get the livery, we'll have them on. If not, I suggest going put in some similar kind of wheels on. In terms of aero, for the front, we've got Type A. It gives you this awesome looking lip, so that'll allow you to have better aero. And Type A at the rear. It's not the standard one, it's the one that looks like a NASCAR little wing, you know, little ducktail. This will also give you more customization in terms of aero. So in terms of performance parts from sports, we've got weight reduction stage 1. Comfort mediums, ignore them. They come on the car as standard. We are not going to be running them. From Club Sport, we've got bore up, high lift camshaft, get my words out, and weight reduction stage 2. So ensure you've got those on. In terms of semi-racing, we are running the racing crankshaft and the fully customizable LSD. There's no more weight reduction, but we have increased the body rigidity. In terms of racing, we've got stroke up, engine balance tuning, and polished ports. They're all perma mods. We've got a supercharger, high-end torque, racing intercooler, racing air filter, racing silencer, racing exhaust manifold, racing brake pads, racing brake kit, slotted discs, fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, racing fully customizable racing transmission, racing hard tires. Ignore the racing softs, by the way, they were for a different video. And then from Extreme, we've got the intermediates and the racing heavy wets. Feel free to pause at any moment you need to check. So here's a setup for the car. We're going to run racing hards to begin with, but obviously ensure you've got the racing intermediates and the heavy wets, because obviously we're going to be running this at Le Mans. It's a 700 pp build. It can rain. So we've got the fully customizable suspension. The body height is 88 at the front and 100 at the rear. Anti-roll bar is 5 at the front and 5 at the rear. Dampening ratio compression, 35 at the front, 36 at the rear. Dampening ratio expansion is 40 front, 40 rear. Natural frequency is 2.25 at the front and 2.40 at the rear. Negative camera angle, 1.7 front, 1.5 rear. Toe angle, now this catches everybody out, 0.05 outwards, so it's sticking out, and then at the rear it's 0.15 inwards, so it's sticking in. We've got the fully customizable LSD set to 56, 60 and 30. Then we've got the fully customizable racing transmission on, and we've set that to 330. You will not need individual gear ratios for this build, so just set it to 330 and you're fine. Downforce at the front is 110, that's what the aero's for, and 189 at the rear. In terms of parts, we've got the racing intercooler, supercharger high end, racing air cleaner, racing silencer, racing exhaust manifold, racing slotted discs, racing brake pads. The handbrake's normal, so I don't know why I clicked that, my bad. Clutch and flywheel again is racing, and then perma mods is bore up, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polished ports, high lift camshaft, racing crankshaft, weight reduction stage 1 and 2, and then at the bottom we've got the increased body rigidity. Feel free to pause at any moment you need to get this setup perfected. So in terms of event, this is more for new people. Go into Europe, go up to France for the 24-hour Le Mans, and go over to the World Touring Car 700. Just go ahead and enter that. That's the event we're going to be using. So here's a strategy with this car. You want to put the fuel straight to Power Mix 6. I also highly recommend running at least one on your traction control, because this is a classic American muscle car. It still has that, you know, kind of snappy rear end. It's however toned down a lot. There's a lot more grip to this build than with this kind of standard car, so it's not going to kick out as much. It does however require a lot in terms of throttle control. However, it's a completely different kind of feeling build to what, you know, most people will run at Le Mans, and that's why I actually really had a ton of fun using this build. The brakes aren't the best, however the main kind of plus side of this car is its insane acceleration and its insane top speed. So you're going to find yourself absolutely flying down the straights. We're trying to, you know, use a low drag setup. This is to sort of increase the top speed, because we're running at Le Mans. We're pretty much going to try and run a kind of a Le Mans package for this event. In terms of, you know, difficulty, just put it on easy. You're grinding for money. I do not see the point in having a challenge if you are basically grinding just to collect cars. If you want a challenge, so custom races and all that good stuff. In terms of your clean race bonus, it's still kind of the same. I believe there's no actual change with update 1.20. I believe the only time you will lose it is if you kind of overtake under yellow flag conditions. You can basically hit the AI and all that good stuff. However, damage is increased, so just be a lot more kind of careful and cautious as you overtake the AI. If you do take damage, it will affect you, especially on a speed circuit like Le Mans. You will find yourself getting absolutely eaten up by the AI if you take anything in terms of, you know, engine damage and such. So as you can see, quite quickly we are on the back of the front three cars. As usual, nothing's changed. It's the Suzuki Swift, the Dodge Viper and the Corvette. We're very quickly going to get on the back of the Suzuki here due to our insane acceleration and top speed. We're going to run in the draft, we're going to pull out, and that's going to be that overtake done. And then before we get to the right-hander at the bottom, we're going to overtake 2 in 1, being the Corvette and the Dodge Viper. So we're into first position now. We're not going to have to really worry about the AI too much for the rest of the race. However, I do feel like they buffed the AI on all difficulties, especially the front two. They now seem to run a lot ahead of the rest of the grid. So as you get onto lap 2, I fully recommend keeping an eye on the weather radar. As you can see, I've got some rain coming in from the left hand side to the right hand side, so it's pretty much guaranteed to hit me. It also moves at a slower rate now after the latest update. It's more realistic, it won't just breeze over. So it will hang around for a lot longer when it does hit. So end of lap 2, I'm going to take my first pit stop. We're going to kind of treat these, I guess this strategy a bit like we did the Bugatti, where you will pit every 2 laps. With this being a road car, it hasn't got a racing fuel tank in. Now this is where I'm actually going to make a bit of a mistake in my run. I thought, you know what, the rain does hang around a bit longer than it previously did, so I thought maybe inters are the best. However, it didn't, you know, it still dries up pretty quick, so it did kind of cost me a bit of time towards the end of this stint. So I actually chose the inters. The rain didn't hang around for very long, and it's the only rain we're going to get, so it did kind of cost me a bit of time in the long run. Bit of a mistake on my part, but it is what it is. There's a lot of kind of RNG with Le Mans. It may rain, it may not. We're going to get a mostly dry run here. I could have stayed out on dries for the whole race, really, even if I was going to struggle around at first when it was kind of raining still a little bit. So I'm going to take the inters this time. I should have really took the hards, and we're going to fill the car to full, and away we go. As you can see, as we leave the pits, there's not much of this kind of formation of rain left. It's going to pass very quickly, and then it's going to dry up very quickly. As you can see in the bottom left, the rain meter isn't even at inters level, so that's the kind of mistake on my part. So lap 3, the rain has passed and we are catching the AI because they will pit a lap later than us. This is what I mean by the kind of buff. These two seem to have a huge lead over the rest of the pack. It never really used to be that way. They did have a lead, but it wasn't as extreme as it was now. They didn't used to kind of capture even when you boxed in on lap 2. They were pretty much always kind of cleared by the time you came out. However, we're going to inherit the lead back. We're now on a dry track, and as you can see, the Inters are holding on for dear life. So the AI is pitted, and we are now going to basically just stretch our legs and get running, really, to try and you know, make up as much time as we can and really push the car. However, these Inters are going to hold me back, like I said. So thankfully they're absolutely shot at this point. The track's dry, so I'm pitting in again on lap 4 because I'm obviously going to need to take fuel as well. So thankfully I can get these tyres thrown off. I'm going to go straight onto the hards. I'm going to fill the car to full, and we are going to obviously come out in the lead. So not too bad. The AI is again going to be pretty close. It's only actually going to be the front two that are going to be remotely close to us. The rest of the pack's completely, you know, way long time behind, so you're not going to have to worry about them. They will, however, pit again in a few laps time. So all you're going to do is just basically come out in front of them and then just gap them, and then they will have to pit around about the same lap that we're going to do our last pit stop. Unless we get rain, you're pretty much guaranteed a win under sort of wet track circumstances, I guess, because the AI is absolutely awful even still, and they're just not very powerful when it comes to running in the rain. So away we go, and we're just going to come out just ahead of the Chevy and the Dodge. So we had a pretty uneventful stint. We've gapped them to around about 40 seconds, obviously taking advantage of our acceleration and speed. And then we're just going to box in on lap 6. Usually we'll be able to do a stop and wait. I think that's might have been why they've kind of buffed the AI. So you can't really stop and wait anymore. I'm unsure. I will be doing a few more builds around Le Mans, so I'll kind of test that out as we go. But I think it may have had something to do with that Inter stint that I did. I wasn't able to kind of get the gap to where I usually would if I'd have run the hard tyre. So anyway, this is going to be our last pit stop of the race, and it's actually going to be the shortest. Or however, we got that horrible kind of run down into the pits at Le Mans. It takes absolutely forever. So I'm going to stick the hard tyres on, just a fresh pair, because obviously tyre deg is increased with this update, and I'm going to fill it to about 1.5 laps of fuel. This is just to ensure I get to the end no matter what. The AI is also going to box on this lap, so they are going to pretty much stay behind us by, you know, a long shot at this point, and we're going to get underway, keeping the car at fuel mix 6, and just get around this final lap with around about 2 minutes remaining as we come out the pits. So I do feel like Inter's run kind of affected my overall time. I didn't quite get there as pinpoint perfect as I usually would, but we're going to come around the last few corners here. So we've got the left and the right. We've kept it at fuel mix 6. As you can see, this car just drinks fuel, but a lot of road cars at Le Mans really do. And then we're just going to power away across the line, get in first place nice and easy, using something a little bit different. So really enjoyed that run, even with my slight mistake. So overall we did it in a 32:10.223. For some reason Le Mans doesn't count your opening lap. My opening lap was around about a 4 minutes 13. It's saying the fastest lap here was by McEwen with you know, like 4:20 something. So it's a bit weird that it doesn't count that. But however, we got 825k in around about 30 minutes. Nice and easy. And as well, I'm going to get a 4-star roulette ticket. Wow. So would I recommend running this build? 100%. I mean, why not? It's something different. You're getting the most out of the new cars in the pack, and this thing pays for itself in one run. So anything after that is pure profit. So I would honestly recommend just testing this build out. I genuinely enjoyed my time with this car. It'd probably be one that I'll just keep going back to every now and again if I want to kind of run something different. I do have another muscle car in the works, and that is actually thanks to a viewer. So I'll give him credit when I do release that video. So yeah, definitely an enjoyable method. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Donation links, well, they're in the description down below if you want to donate and help out the channel. If you want to become a channel member, feel free. There should be a button somewhere on this video. And big shout out to our current channel members: Wilmot, Vincent and Ticketbait, thank you for your continued support, and thanks to everyone really, because you really do make this kind of work enjoyable. I'll see you later, guys. Peace!